Welcome to the Allo.Capital podcast. If you're just joining us, we are doing seasons. This season, we are summoning Allo.Capital, a new spinout from Gitcoin that's designed to build the capital allocation layer of the next internet. There is big upside here. Capital allocation is a multi-trillion-dollar design space. VCs, governments, NGOs, and DAOs all have to allocate capital to solve their problems. But it's also a place where you can start small. Every time you spend money, you are allocating capital. We are threading a through line, partnering with builders, researchers, and funders to figure out what the next generation of capital allocation will look like post tokenization, post AI, and then building it on Ethereum. If you want to learn more, visit our website at Allo.Capital, where you can download the Allo books for free, play with some of our dApps, join the Telegram, or participate in the DAO. All right, today I have the Allo Ships session to play for you. Allo Ships is a weekly session in which we have builders in the Allo.Capital builder network show up and show off what kind of cool tools they are building for their customers. And so this is a session that I think is best watched on video. If you want to see the cool stuff that has been built in visual form, then definitely recommend checking out the YouTube channel. If you just go to YouTube and search for Allo.Capital, you'll find it. So I hope you enjoy. So welcome everyone to the fourth Allo Ships. This is a opportunity for us all to demo either technology or research and strategic intelligence that we are working on together to each other. And so the idea is that the feedback and cross-pollination that can come from spending time together, talking about what we're all building, and I'm using building in the broad sense of the term, software and intelligence, is going to help cohere a network of people that can provide value to each other, distribution, social feedback, intelligence for each other's work. And so this is a container for us to do that. And the call is being recorded. You can go to the Allo.Capital YouTube, which I'm showing right here, to see past recordings of demos that we've done. And it's always a treat for me to take a look at the work people are doing in the network and in the broader capital allocation space. And so I think let's get into it. Formatting wise, let's do 5 minutes max per person, and that'll give us time to do 5 demos today, and we can just kind of feel it out from there. So if you're going to give a demo, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then saving 2 or 3 minutes for Q&A feels like a best practice to me. So does anyone want to go first? Is anyone brave and wants to talk about what they're working on first?
I can go first.
All right, Carl, you got 5 minutes on the clock. Take us away.
Share my screen. So based some updates to Allo grants. For example, one of the new features is that we can now update the pools. And for grantees, when applying to a pool, we can import previous projects. And I've done some UI updates also. It's also possible to edit applications for the status is approved. Like before the application has been approved, the grantee can make changes to it. And we can see that we have like these common components, like a project details, allocations component. We also have cards for projects, checkout, where we can see the matching funds. If we go to the admin dashboard again, we can see here the matching funds and the boats. I've also updated the documentation. Now there is documentation for the SDK, how it's imported, how to deploy pools, register, review, allocate, and some updates to listing all of the components available, and also some utility components like allowance check, balance check, token amount, etc. Yeah, I think that's it for this demo. So basically, it's a very simple implementation of quadratic funding with the capacity to create new types of pools. So the foundational contract is a pool which can be funded. That's it. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks, Carl. So Allokit, if I recall, is a forkable full stack application that anyone can can fork in order to get a grants application up and running. And it's not built on Allo protocol. It's all just using emergent, already existing smart contract pieces out there. Did I get that right?
Yes. It's
Okay.
centered around a pool contract that can be extended, inspired by the Open Zeppelin ERC20, ERC721. So,
Okay. And what would have to be true to use this in GG24? So Gitcoin grants 24 in October. Maybe that's a question I can take offline and discuss requirements, but I think this provides a nice launch pad for that.
yeah. And please provide some feedback and comments and feature requests. There is on the GitHub under Allo.Capital, there's a link to the Telegram channel. So yeah, happy to take any questions or feedback there also.
Cool. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions for Carl? All right. Can I get some snaps for Carl? Going first is always can be harrowing. So thank you, Carl, for the demo. Looking forward to figuring out if we can use this in GG24. And I love how simple the application that you just showed is. Simple and minimalist UX. It projects confidence for me if something's simple and minimalistic. It implies to me that it just works. And so excited to mess around with it. All right. Well, it's been 5 minutes for Carl, so I'm going to transition us into whoever's next. Anyone else have something that they want to demo? And again, we're asking for things that are specific to Allo.Capital or just generally on-chain capital allocation, post-AI capital allocation. The boundaries are a little bit fuzzy here, but as long as it's about crowdfunding and capital allocation, I think that would love to get a demo of it.
I'd be happy to show some stuff on Mezzanine here.
Yeah, that'd be great. Graham, why don't you do a light intro of yourself and then take us into Mezzanine, and you have 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure thing. I'm originally a Web2 founder, sold an air company to like an Airbnb competitor, did a bunch of kind of traditional finance stuff for a little bit. But most people know me as the guy who started Constitution DAO. And so I've been very involved in the kind of on-chain space ever since then. And I've had, lots of, I think like everyone else here, lots of ups and downs with DAOs and on-chain organizations about what works and doesn't work. But I've basically built a platform that's designed for groups that function a lot more like companies. I, like a lot of you, probably, like the idea of decentralization, shared ownership, and probably going about it more of like a more traditional kind of looking or feeling way. But what we've built is essentially a platform that is designed to be kind of the I'm realizing you can't see this. It's designed to be a financial operating system for groups that run and feel like companies. And it's all modular, smart contracts under the hood, but it's basically connecting crypto and fiat. We've designed this to be like a store-like structure so that each organization can pick and choose the modules that are applicable to it, whether that's payroll, billing, fundraising in a certain style, or sending money in a certain style. And so we just kind of started with a basic set of applications for payments and compensation. But of course, things like fundraising are super applicable. And so we're looking at things like, in our case, regulated fundraising, price rounds, safe notes, things like that, for kind of venture backable entities that need to be compliant in some ways. Now, what this actually looks like live is essentially this kind of app store. Each time you add an app, it kind of shows up in your nav bar. Each of these things are, embedded within the application itself. So if I want to send money to Kevin, I'd say, oh, I don't have Kevin Owaki in here. I do, however, have Kevin Mahar. I can, send him $1. I submit it. There's a multi-sig under the hood here, and I can just approve that with myself and my team. We've got all these kind of signer swapping and all these things like that kind of built into it. Simple execution and rejection. I'm sure most of you guys worked with some type of safe interface before. There's stuff for payroll, there's stuff for, invoices and whatever else. But obviously the part that this is probably most applicable for things related to you guys is things related to kind of capital formation, fundraising. I'm sure you guys have in various capacities talked to either the folks at Seed Labs or Gabe Shapiro and the folks at MetaLex have kind of fundraising products that we're going to be kind of embedding and making available here. Part of the reason I wanted to chat with you guys is I think there's a lot of like powerful kind of tools for forming capital, and this is all designed to be quite modular. So if for a lot of the tools you guys are building. We'd love to talk about how we make them available. The whole purpose of Mezzanine setup is to kind of make things integrated. And by integrated, I mean there's this kind of set of kind of like shared enterprise tools. And for us, what that means is, can we generate documents that describe in human readable text and spreadsheets, the way that like lawyers and accountants are used to like looking at things, rather than going to block explorers to say, hey, can I just get this spreadsheet that summarizes all of my payroll, my sending history, my inflows, my outflows? Can I have groups and permissions for people in my organization? So aside from just like the signers of my multi-sig, I have groups like admins and support roles and other people who I can add into my organization. And all those people have like different rules and different permissions, right? Not everybody's approving transactions. Not everybody's able to see every single document or every single thing. And it's just realistically how a lot of organizations function. Now, if you want to make everything free and open, allow everyone to see everything, that's totally an option, but it's based off of what each organization is doing. So we kind of give them this kind of control panel. If you guys are familiar with HATS protocol, Spencer Graham, the folks over there, that's what this is built on. Is you got basically a tree-like structure underneath the hood here. Of course, a built-in CRM system, your whole kind of on-chain history. And we've been doing a lot with banks and bank integrations lately too. So most organizations we've talked to, realistically, they're on-chain and off-chain. And I think this is like a realization that probably took us too long to realize. And it was like, okay, how do we allow you to connect to your bank account and sync your financials and make it really easy? So eventually, because you're probably doing stuff compliantly at the end of the year, like taxes and whatnot. So that's I'd say some of the stuff that we're doing, and right now building up more stuff related to making it easy to spend money and do other things. But yeah, so that's the kind of long and the short of it.
Thanks, Graham. It was very exhaustive. Excited to see what the full launch looks like in a couple
Absolutely.
months. We have time for a minute if anyone has a question for Graham. Going once, going twice.
Really cool and polished UI.
Yeah.
Is there any place we can like check it out?
Yes. I'll drop a link in here. The kind of public site is not it's not public facing for other folks. We tend to like to do kind of white gloved onboarding for right now as we launch the product. But I'll drop a link that anyone can go on to, and I'd love feedback. I'll also drop my Telegram handle. Would love to chat with you guys, have you test it, play around with it. But yeah.
Alrighty, thanks, Graham. See people jumping in the queue in the chat. Looks like Mitch, you might be next if I'm reading the chat chronologically. I don't want to put you on the spot, Mitch, but do you want to do a demo of donation agents?
It's still work in progress, but I can talk about it for sure. I have some prototypes and stuff that I can share.
Okay, we'll also be doing this every other week, so happy to do it in the future. But if you're ready, we can do it today.
Yeah, I could just whip it up. How much time do I have to present?
It would be 5 minutes. Maybe
yeah,
Raven could go first, and then you can be ready in 5 minutes. Does that sound good?
I can go now. I mean,
Okay,
Notion doc. I got a prototype. I got a couple
let's do it.
AI diagrams I can show you. So donation agents is a feature that we're working on within Giveth. We're about halfway through the development. It should be launching sometime July, maybe early August. And what we're doing is we're launching a new entity called Causes. And Causes will be a group of verified projects on Giveth that share a common goal, vision, or theme. You can donate to them just like you would a regular project on Giveth. And what actually happens is that we have an impact assessment agent that's in the background analyzing all of the data related to the project and proportionally donating more of the funding that's donated to Causes to the higher value or the higher quality projects within. So pretty cool feature. We're going to be deploying this on Polygon. And again, we're about halfway through, but the really, really cool thing is that anybody on Giveth will be able to make a cause. So you go in there, you say, okay, Kevin, he wants to build, Ethereum localism in Boulder. And he goes in there and he finds all of the projects that are on Giveth, or maybe he onboards them onto Giveth, whatever. And then he creates his own cause and he curates them. And then he deploys it. And then he becomes like a champion of a cause. And then he's able to like rally around his community. He can make donations to the cause that he's in with. And then there's an agent in the background that's looking through all of this data. And I realize I'm not showing you the prototype. Let's do this. Let's do window. Let's do that. Now you can see the mess going on. And so he's able to rally all of that support. And then there's an agent that's looking through, say, okay, what are these projects in Boulder? What are they posting about on Twitter? What are they posting on their Farcaster? When was their last update? And then it's saying like, okay, this project seems to be creating more impact. It seems to be more active. It's doing things. And so the funding that's going into the causes is proportionally getting channeled more to those projects that are more active and making their impact more visible. So that's generally it. The cool thing is that the cause owner will also have some incentives. So like we'll be redistributing a portion of the amount that's in the cause's funding pool. 5% daily will go out. And actually of that 5%, Kevin will get 3%. He has some incentive to make his cause really successful because he also has a chance to get some upside by getting a portion of that funding back for him, or he can choose to redonate it or whatever you want. And then on top of that, Giveth will take a small fee as well to generate some sustainable revenue for ourselves. So that's the TLDR on causes. We'll be able to introduce it with quadratic funding rounds. We'll be able to apply different mechanisms to it as well. And it'll be really, really integrated. And there'll be more things to come that'll kind of like sidecar onto causes and make them more complex and regenerative. That's it.
Yeah, it's tight. I think that being able to donate to a cause in one click or one token transfer is really interesting, and it kind of reduces the governance fatigue for people, assuming that they trust the breakdown of the causes. I guess that's not a question, that's just a comment. And if anyone has any questions for Mitch, we got another minute or so.
What's the backend they're using smart contracts? Is it on ENS or where are you keeping the data?
The data related to the distribution of it?
No, the causes themselves, and the projects that go into a cause.
So the projects are already on chain, as in they have their own addresses that they bring. So it's usually just like an EOA. And then the cause funding pool will be managed in the beginning by an EOA through like basically just like a off-chain service, so that as the funding goes in, we can basically permissionlessly and instantly send it out to the project. Sorry.
What about the metadata for a project, like the image and the description?
That's all stored Web 2. So we have that on the database.
Oh, okay, cool.
The banner image is on IPFS, but that's not super important.
All right, that's all the time we have, Mitch. Thanks for the demo. Excited about this. Can't wait to play with it. Let's see, Graven, you want to show us FlowState?
Sure. Got a couple things to show off. Get the right window. So yeah, I'm Graven from FlowState. We are working on streaming allocation mechanisms, particularly with Superfluid. We like the token-centric streaming model because I think it opens up a lot of composability. Back in the day, we built streaming quadratic funding with Allo on Allo 2.1, and now we've kind of expanded into some other products and ways to allocate with streams. The one that we've been launching a lot more rounds recently is something we're calling Flow Guilds. We've been working with think protocol guild, but streaming. And similar to causes, it's intended to cut down on the amount of decision making people have to make on funding. Support we'll call it a cause or some sort of group of people that are working towards a common goal, and then allow them to self curate that their membership and their funding. So we're building out more and more tools to for these teams, these guilds to do all sorts of stuff with streaming. So not just allocate it, but maybe DCA out of a token, and obviously try to grow their sustainability. And then the most exciting thing we are going to be launching a new tool called Flow Councils. We have a no code UI to launch these rounds. Basically, it is a streaming allocation with direct voting. So all the things you'd need: permission, membership, managing recipients, and integrated flow there. And then a UI. So you can open, kind of think of it as a matching stream or a matching pool or a distribution pool, and then you can just vote directly, and the stream is allocated proportionally to that. We're launching a program with Good Dollar. They have something called the Good Builders program. They are trying to incentivize people to integrate with Good Dollar, innovate within that ecosystem. And we think streaming is a really good way to align incentives long term. So once you vote, you can revote, you can change your vote at any time. And so the idea is to create long-term, like relational funding so that people, like on the builder side, you have some predictability, and a budget so you can hopefully grow your team, but then also know that like if you ship good stuff, people will notice and increase your funding. So rather than having to wait for the quarterly cycle or something like that, if someone sees something great, they should increase the vote. And so the other great thing with streaming is trying to push voting out to the edges. We aren't there yet, but looking forward to doing some stuff with Barcaster mini apps and all the great stuff happening there, instead of at like kind of a centralized UI. Last thing I'll say is Superfluid. I mentioned them. They've been big supporters. They have a token that they are distributing not as an airdrop, but streaming out to people for participating and using apps within the ecosystem. We have our friends over at Giveth, us. So basically, you can kind of donate to earn or participate in these funding rounds and earn this sub token. So we have these tools. If you're looking to run a round, hit us up. We can launch these in a couple minutes, and you can even earn sub for sponsoring a round. So glad to answer any questions if anyone has them.
All right, let's get some snaps for Graven. Any questions? Mitch, you raised your hand. Is that a question or a fat finger?
No, I was trying to find the emoji thing and I pressed the hand button.
Okay. Yeah, I think that this is interesting. I think that having more guilds as a primitive is going to be really interesting. I know the Dev Tool Guild just launched. Guild is happening. Green Pill Dev Guild. I'm not sure these are all guilds of the same type of a protocol guild, but it's interesting to see the evolution here, and I can't wait to see what works. And it's cool that y'all are supporting them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Saw Dev Tool Guild this morning. So yeah, it seems like kind of a moment for guilds.
We only have 4 minutes, so I'm not sure that that's enough time to give another demo. I'd love to just wrap for the last 5 minutes, 4 minutes of the call if people have questions or things that they want to talk about. And I can seed the first thing if no one speaks up. Okay, well, what's been occupying my time recently is thinking about Gitcoin 3.0. And basically Gitcoin Grants 24, which is coming up in October. There's a bunch of posts on the Gitcoin governance forums, but TLDR GG24 is happening, and we're starting with what's called sense-making season, trying to reason about Ethereum's biggest problems and how we could solve them with networks of capital allocation. And so, you know, I think the provocation for this group of Allo builders is, should we start thinking about what problems your tooling solves for the Ethereum ecosystem and what a small test round would look like for FlowState or for Giveth Causes or for Mezzanine or for Allo grants in GG24? My vision here is that Allo builders are building innovative capital allocation mechanisms, and we can kind of slot those into the arena that is Gitcoin 24. So, yeah, catch up on the Gitcoin Gov forums if you want to read up on that. If you're more conversational, feel free to DM me, and I'm happy to talk you through how everything's going. But I think that this is going to be Gitcoin's widest capital allocation event yet. Before it was all quadratic funding, and now we're going insanely pluralistic, and quadratic funding will only be a small component of it. So excited to see what that looks like, and would love to invite you all to the dance to come show off what you've been doing. GG24 coming soon. Gitcoin 3.0. Any comments on that? Let me know. If not, happy to change subjects. We've got 2 more minutes. Happy to keep going. Bork and Wisdom is suggesting if these calls changed every 15 days, maybe make them an hour long. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to doing longer or modifying the cadence. Feels like half an hour is just enough showing off demos. for us. It's not clear to me that we have more than half hour's worth of content, but we could consider that Fork and Wisdom.
I like the quick speed. I think it's great.
Yeah, and if you missed them, you can always check out the Allo.Capital YouTube, where we're going to be. I've got some good episodes coming up. I'm excited about it, but also the ship calls will be on there as well.
Kevin, thanks for hosting, man.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for showing up with all the innovative stuff that y'all are doing. Makes me very optimistic about Ethereum. All right, I'll talk to y'all next time. Peace. Again, thank you for listening. We are featuring the people who are building the capital allocation layer of the next generation of the internet. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.